Imagine a young villager who sets off on a journey after hearing tales of a distant paradise. They carry no weapons, only a small satchel and a heart full of hope. Along the way, they meet people hardened by war, betrayal, and fear. Some mock the villager's optimism, others try to take advantage of it. Yet through it all, the villager chooses kindness, believing that goodness still exists in the world. Eventually, their sincerity softens those around them, opening doors that strength and cunning never could. This is the journey of the innocent, marked by the quiet power of unwavering trust. The innocent is the archetype who sees the world through hopeful eyes, trusts easily, and believes in goodness even when things get hard. At first glance, the innocent may seem naive or overly idealistic, but there is much more to this archetype than meets the eye. The innocent is a psychological archetype that lives within all of us. It longs for safety, harmony, and simplicity. When balanced, it brings joy, peace, and a sense of spiritual connection. But when wounded or unchecked, the innocent can lead to denial, avoidance, or blind trust that leaves us vulnerable. This part of you might be shaping your life in ways you haven't yet realized. It's important to note that the innocent is not the same as the inner child. Although they overlap in some ways, the innocent is a universal archetype found in myths, stories, and dreams. In this video, we'll explore the innocent's role in personal growth, its strengths and challenges, and how reconnecting with this archetype can help you heal, stay open-hearted, and navigate with clarity and compassion. So Carl Jung's model of the psyche is divided into three main parts: the conscious mind, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious. The conscious mind is where our ego lives. The ego is the center of our conscious awareness, responsible for our sense of identity and our interactions with the outside world. It filters out perceptions, helping us navigate daily life by focusing on what we are aware of at any given moment. The personal unconscious, on the other hand, is where we store forgotten memories, suppressed thoughts, and feelings. Things we are not actively aware of, but can recall or bring to mind when needed. This is also where the shadow resides. The shadow represents the parts of ourselves that we reject or deny, often because they don't align with our self-image or society's expectations. However, understanding and integrating the shadow is essential for personal growth because it holds hidden strengths and insights, and being aware of it can also prevent you from committing the same mistakes over and over again. Lastly, the collective unconscious goes beyond the individual. It is a shared part of the human psyche containing archetypes, universal primal symbols and patterns of behavior that are common across cultures. This is something we all have in common as humans and are born with. It's in the collective unconscious where we find the 12 archetypes. These are patterns of behavior that resonate deeply within all of us. Today we'll focus on one of the most sincere and uplifting archetypes, the innocent. As we see in countless movies, books, and myths, the innocent's journey represents the universal longing for purity, trust, hope, and emotional safety. The innocent reminds us of what it means to believe in goodness and possibility, even in a harsh world. And while this archetype is uplifting and deeply human, it also has its shadow side, which we'll explore. Let's go over what the innocent archetype even is. The innocent has existed across cultures for centuries, often portrayed as the childlike dreamer, the gentle soul, or the pure-hearted seeker. In Jungian psychology, the innocent represents the inner drive to see the world as safe, kind, and full of wonder. Unlike the hero who charges ahead to overcome challenges, the innocent trusts in life and believes that everything will work out if we remain true to our values. This archetype is embodied in many beloved characters, like Lucy from the Chronicles of Narnia, whose belief in the magical world led others to transformation, or Amélie from the film Amélie, whose small acts of kindness ripple out into profound change. These characters remind us that the innocent carries strength in sincerity and optimism, even in the face of pain or betrayal. In tarot, the innocent is closely associated with the Fool card when viewed from a lens of purity and open-heartedness. Upright, it symbolizes innocence, fresh starts, and curiosity. It reflects someone open to new experiences with trust and faith. Reversed, it can suggest naivety, avoidance, or being taken advantage of when boundaries and discernment are missing. Just like with every archetype, the innocent has a shadow side. When unbalanced or wounded, it often shows up as the victim. While the innocent believes in goodness and hopes for the best, the victim feels powerless, betrayed by life, and convinced that safety will never return. The victim clings to the idea that others are to blame for their suffering and becomes trapped in cycles of fear, dependency, or avoidance. In daily life, this can appear in people who are overly passive or constantly seek rescuers or saviors. They may avoid responsibility, expecting someone else to fix their problems. Others may retreat emotionally, believing the world is too dangerous to engage with. This mindset often stems from earlier experiences of broken trust or deep emotional wounds that never healed. In pop culture, think of characters like Buster Bluth from Arrested Development, who remains emotionally stunted and dependent on others, often feeling overwhelmed by life and incapable of taking charge. His exaggerated innocence masks a deeper sense of helplessness and victimhood. Psychologically, Carl Jung teaches us that the shadow contains the parts of ourselves that we try to ignore. For the innocent, the victim emerges when hope turns into helplessness and when trust in life becomes fear of it. Understanding this pattern helps us reclaim our strength. If we catch ourselves waiting to be saved or feeling like life is unfair, it may be time to reconnect with the mature innocent within, one who trusts life but also takes empowered steps forward. There are 4 major advantages of the innocent archetype that, when embraced, can bring more peace, clarity, and meaning into your life. These strengths are often misunderstood, but when applied with awareness, they can lead to a deeper sense of purpose. I'll share some examples from pop culture to help illustrate how the innocent shows up in powerful ways. Let's start with the first one. One of the core strengths of the innocent archetype is its unwavering sense of optimism and hope. This is not blind naivety, but a resilient belief that good can still prevail even in dark times. In anime, we see this trait shine through in many beloved shonen protagonists. Characters like Goku, Naruto Uzumaki, Tanjiro Kamado, Gon Freaks, and Yuji Itadori all carry a light within them that refuses to be extinguished, no matter how cruel or violent the world becomes. But perhaps the clearest example is Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. Luffy's faith in his friends, in freedom, and in the idea that people can change the world is a driving force behind his every action. Even when faced with enormous threats, betrayal, or loss, he rarely loses that core spark of joy and trust in life. His optimism is infectious. It inspires loyalty, builds community, and gives others the courage to believe again. If you've ever chosen to hope instead of give up, trusted someone even when it was risky, or helped a friend see the bright side of a challenge, you've touched this part of yourself. The innocent within you is not weak. It's one of the strongest parts of your spirit. Psychologist Martin E.P. Seligman explored this in his book, Learned Optimism, where he showed how a hopeful mindset can be developed and practiced, leading to better mental health, stronger relationships, and even a longer life. Cultivating optimism doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It means choosing to believe that your actions still matter and that the future can improve, not just for you, but for everyone. That belief is powerful, and it's something you can strengthen each day. Another defining strength of the innocent archetype is trust and faith, a deep, often unshakable belief in the goodness of people and the world. We see this beautifully embodied in Buddy from Elf, whose childlike trust in others and the magic of Christmas melts even the coldest hearts. Despite being ridiculed or misunderstood, Buddy never stops believing that kindness, joy, and connection can win people over. Similarly, Chihiro from Spirited Away displays this quality when she places her trust in strange and unpredictable spirits, navigating a world filled with uncertainty with faith that she will find her way. Her trust in Haku, her parents' return, and her own inner strength allows her to grow from a scared child into someone capable of great courage and wisdom. In both stories, their faith not only protects their own spirit, but also transforms the world around them. In your own life, you might have moments where you place trust in someone or something, even when logic told you to doubt. Maybe you helped someone without knowing if they'd return the favor, or followed your heart into unfamiliar territory. These choices, rooted in faith, can open doors to transformation, not just for yourself, but for others who are moved by your example. The innocent archetype reminds us that trust is not weakness. It's a quiet form of strength. In a world that often encourages suspicion and guardedness, keeping this part of yourself alive can be a radical act of healing. We have joy and playfulness at number 3, and it often appears in characters who aren't afraid to be different, even when the world doesn't understand them. Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter is a great example. Her quirky sense of style and unusual ideas make her stand out, but she doesn't shy away from being herself. Instead of trying to fit in, Luna brings a sense of wonder and ease to those around her. She helps her friends feel safe in their own uniqueness simply by being fully herself. Ponyo from the film Ponyo on the Cliff by the Sea shows this too. Her fascination with the simplest things like noodles, toy boats, or a new friend shows how delight can be found in everyday moments. These characters help us remember that joy can be powerful even in difficult times. You may have experienced this archetype when you allowed yourself to enjoy a moment without overthinking it. Whether it was laughing at something silly, sharing a strange idea, or wearing something expressive without worrying what others thought. Those moments carry the innocence energy. They remind us that lightness has value. Life's challenges don't always need to be met with force or analysis. Sometimes a little playfulness is what brings people together or helps us get through a difficult day. When you reconnect with this part of yourself, it becomes easier to face life with resilience and curiosity. Number 4, moral clarity. Some characters move through the world with a steady sense of right and wrong that never wavers, even when they are surrounded by darkness. Samwise Gamgee from The Lord of the Rings carries this kind of clarity with him. He supports Frodo through despair, danger, and temptation, holding to a quiet belief in the goodness of their mission. He doesn't rely on ideology or complex reasoning. His values are simple, but they guide him with incredible strength. Another character who embodies this is Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender, whose moral compass stays intact even after experiencing loss, war, and personal failure. His wisdom and heart serve as a light for those around him. You may have felt this kind of clarity in your own life, when making a hard decision, standing up for someone, or staying loyal through a difficult situation. Moral clarity doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. It can show up in small, consistent choices that keep you aligned with your inner values. The innocent archetype reflects this inner compass, which stays steady even when others lose their way. In a world full of complexity and confusion, this grounded sense of direction can help you stay connected to what really matters. Knowing these advantages is good, but it's not enough. It is important to be aware of the disadvantages as well. For the innocent, its shadow often reveals itself when idealism clashes with reality. To grow, we need to understand these patterns, not just celebrate the light they come from. The first disadvantage is naivety or gullibility. Naivety is one of the core vulnerabilities of the innocent archetype. In the story of Pinocchio, this trait is easy to spot. When Pinocchio skips school to follow Honest John, believing he can become famous with no effort, he shows how innocence can cloud judgment. Later, he accepts an invitation to Pleasure Island without questioning the consequences, drawn in by promises of fun and freedom. These choices reveal how easily trust can be misplaced when someone sees the world through an idealistic lens. Throughout the story, his good intentions are constantly taken advantage of. He ends up caged by Stromboli, the puppet master who exploits him for profit, and later transformed into a donkey as punishment for indulging in Pleasure Island's temptations. These events serve as warnings about what can happen when someone does not yet recognize the complexity of human motives. For viewers, it's a reminder to develop discernment without abandoning their inner light. Blind trust can be dangerous, but learning through experience can help refine innocence into wisdom. Number 2, avoidance of harsh realities. The innocent archetype often copes with danger by retreating into a soft and comforting version of reality. In Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Snow White finds safety in the forest and settles into a peaceful life with the dwarves. She sings, cleans, and cooks, creating a warm environment that helps her feel protected. However, this idyllic routine makes her less aware of the danger still looming. The queen, driven by jealousy, remains a very real threat, but Snow White avoids confronting this and becomes vulnerable to it. This tendency to avoid harsh truths leaves her open to deception. When the disguised queen offers her a poisoned apple, Snow White accepts it without suspicion. Her trusting nature and desire to see only the good delay her ability to recognize danger when it's near. For those who identify with the innocent, this story serves as a gentle caution. Creating peace is meaningful, but staying grounded and alert can help ensure that innocence is paired with awareness rather than wishful thinking. The third disadvantage is dependency on others. In the early seasons of Game of Thrones, Sansa Stark embodies the innocent archetype through her belief in fairy tale ideals. She dreams of marrying a prince and living a life of luxury and honor at court. Raised on stories of noble knights and loyal rulers, she puts her faith in the royal family without questioning their motives. This dependency on external protection and approval blinds her to the harsh realities of political life in King's Landing. Her trust in figures like Queen Cersei and King Joffrey leaves her unprepared for the cruelty she faces. Sansa is manipulated, humiliated, and treated as a pawn in a game she does not yet understand. Her early innocence makes it difficult for her to act independently or see through deceit. For anyone identifying with the innocent archetype, her story highlights the need to balance trust with discernment and develop the strength to stand on one's own when the world turns cold. This reminds me a lot about when people put their trust on politicians. Finally, at number 4, the fourth disadvantage is fear of change or loss. Wendy Darling from Peter Pan represents the innocent archetype through her attachment to the safety and wonder of childhood. In Neverland, she enjoys telling stories, nurturing the lost boys, and embracing a world free from adult concerns. Her time there reflects a longing to preserve innocence and avoid the uncertainties that come with growing older. Wendy finds comfort in the simplicity of Neverland, where imagination and play shield her from the demands of real life. As her adventure unfolds, Wendy begins to feel the tension between staying in Neverland and returning home. She hesitates to leave the magical world, sensing that growing up will bring responsibility and emotional distance from the carefree joy she has known. Her fear of change mirrors a common struggle for those who identify with the innocent archetype, the difficulty of stepping into the unknown and letting go of safety that comes from staying in familiar roles. This reminds me a lot of people who choose to stay in their comfort zone. Maybe they like to stay at home and play video games and may depend a lot on their parents. These people fear adult responsibility. The innocent also walks a meaningful path, one that begins with trust in the goodness of life. This journey is not focused on conquering enemies or achieving grand victories. It is about staying open to the world with a pure heart, even when the world proves to be unpredictable or unkind. Like the figure of the Fool card of the tarot, the innocent takes a first step with hope, unaware of what lies ahead, but guided by inner faith. Along the way, the innocent encounters moments of disillusionment. These moments can feel painful, but they're part of growing wiser. Each experience becomes a lesson in discernment and balance. The journey does not erase their innocence, but it adds depth to it. Through time and reflection, the innocent may begin to embody a quiet wisdom, one that still believes in light and understands the shadows. The innocent archetype reminds us of the quiet strength found in trust, openness, and wonder. While some characters might gain recognition for their bravery or wisdom, the innocent shows us the value of walking through life with a clear heart and the willingness to believe in goodness, even when things become uncertain. Just like the story of the villager in the story who wandered beyond the edge of town, following nothing more than a feeling, sometimes the most meaningful steps are the ones we take without guarantees. As you look at your own journey, consider the times when you chose hope instead of fear. When did you listen to your inner voice, even if others did not understand? These moments are not signs of weakness. They are signs that the innocent within you is still alive. As your path continues, remember that the journey is not meant to be walked by one archetype alone. The hero can help you press forward when things get hard, offering strength and determination. To learn more about the hero archetype and how it can support your growth, watch this video here.